Good morning. It's a beautiful Wednesday morning, and we are live right here on Cactv. This is the newspaper review on Morning Dew. I am yours truly, Modit Dominic.
And my name is Oladipo. Good morning, viewers at home.
All right, we'll go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll look at stories making headlines, and we'll also take a look at the quote for the day. Please stay tuned. We'll be right back shortly after this. Yes, welcome back from that quick break. So first, let's take a look at the quote that we have for you for today. So the quote for today is taken from the book of Psalm 12, verse 5. And it says, "The Lord replies, I have seen violence done to the helpless, and I have heard the groans of the poor, and I will rise up and rescue them as they have longed for me to do so." I'll take it again. The Lord replies, I have seen the violence done to the helpless, and I will hear their groans and hear the groans of the poor. Now I will rise up and rescue them as they have longed for me to do so. This is the word coming to you from the book of Psalm 12, verse 5. The Lord is saying, I have heard your groanings for too long. He has heard the cry of the helpless. And today he is rising up and he is coming for you because he has heard your groanings and your cries for too long. So today I decree that the Lord will come for you. He will come to your rescue. He will be your help. He will be your shield. He is coming to help you in that situation that seems to weigh you down. Today, the Lord is responding to every tears that drops from your eyes. And so shall it be for us all in Jesus' name. Amen. So let's dive right into the business of the day. And this is the first story that we have from the Punch newspaper. It says bank recapitalization. Presidency bank backs CBN's investors rush for mega bank stocks. Investors inject 110 billion naira in UBA, FBNH, Zenith access other stock in 2 days. Presidency on Tuesday expressed support for the banking sector consolidation initiative of the Central Bank of Nigeria, saying it would help the country to grow the economy to a new height. This came barely 5 days after the CBN said it would ask banks to raise new capital. According to the presidency, it has become important to consider the capital adequacy of Nigerian bank in light of the project $1 trillion economy in 8 years. Representing President Bola Tinubu at the 40th anniversary celebration of the Guardian newspaper in Lagos on Tuesday, the President's Special Advisor on Information and Strategy, Bayo Ononuga, said there would be a strong need to revisit the capital adequacy levels of the bank. Okay, so that's the first story that we have from the Punch. So this is saying bank recapitalization. Presidency backs CBN investors rush to mega bank stock. Okay, looking at this story, would know that there is so much coming up for Nigeria as far as the financial sector is concerned. So, Engineer Ola, what's your take on this?
Well, it's a very good step, because when the president is planning to raise the economy to $1 trillion in about 8 years to come, you have to prepare the banking sector
For the investors.
for this proposal. And then, this thing has happened before. When Obasanjo was Nigerian president, he was also advised that the bank has to consolidate themselves so that they can have a very good economy, to run. That was when most of the banks merged together, to become stronger, to be able to, inject money into the economy. So it's a very good thing that the CBN governor is now liaising with the CBN governor is now coming up to say that, okay, this is what we want to do. And the presidency is coming to support that. Oh, if you try to put $1 trillion into Nigerian economy in about 8 years, our economy will transform and the economy will change. But you cannot do this without also going along with the banking sector. You have to consolidate the bank. You have to raise the base capital of the bank. And how do you do this? No. There are so many methods we can use. One of the major ones is for the bank to come together, to merge. That is the big banks, taking over the smaller banks and they merge together so that they can be able to raise the capital base. But now the investors too are now coming in. They are trying to put about 110 billion naira into the economy now. That is to buy stock, in the stock market. It's a very good thing. But this is just the beginning. Okay. This is the beginning. And then if this thing is properly monitored and maintained, then I can see that at the end of the tunnel, everybody in the country today will laugh, because the economy is not smiling at us. Economy is not smiling at all. And again, when you look into the foreign exchange, because this is one of the bases of the economy, if you do not do anything to control the foreign exchange, and the foreign exchange is skyrocketing at just anyhow, there wouldn't be any way to run the economy. So the government is trying to do something that is positive, because you cannot raise the economy. You cannot say I want to do this without carrying along the bank, and the bank too. You cannot do it alone without carrying along investors. And if there's a healthy economy, if I want to put my money somewhere and knows that very well that this money will yield a better profit for me, so I will not hesitate to do that. I will put my money because I want to have more money. So I will invest my money to get more money. So if the condition is encouraging, many investors will come, and then at the end of the day, we'll be able to see that Nigerian economy has transformed. And it's a good thing now that the presidency is backing the CBN on this proposal. If they can work together, in togetherness we stand, we'll be able to achieve our aim.
All right, thank you so much. It means that they will have to work hand in hand. The bank will also have to work together to make sure that we have investors coming in, and basically we also need that this is being monitored properly so that we can achieve the results that is expected. All right, looking further to the second story, this says Ondo crisis worsen, Assembly demands Ayedatiwa's resignation. The Ondo State House of Assembly has warned against violating the resolutions of President Bola Tinubu's meeting with the members of the House and other stakeholders over the lingering political crisis in the state. The House held its first plenary session on Tuesday after last Friday's meeting with Tinubu in Abuja. At the end of the Tuesday's plenary, the Speaker of the Assembly, Mr. Olamide Oladeji, disclosed that as part of the resolutions reached at the meeting with Tinubu, the Deputy Governor, Mr. Lucky Ayedatiwa, was asked to write an undated resignation letter and submit it to the President. Okay, so that's the first story. That's the second story that we have from the Punch newspaper. So yesterday, I think we touched briefly on this. Now I'm asking, why is the Assembly demanding that Ayedatiwa, drop his resignation letter and write a letter before this is being done?
No, when they met with the President, they were advised. And then a solution was given to them that, okay, this is how we want things to go for peace to reign. We are the ruling party. We want peace to reign. It's too early for us to have rancors among ourselves. So the presidency, according to what we read in the paper, is telling them that all impeachment must be terminated. That everybody should go back to their positions. That I-31 should write an undated letter of resignation. That is to checkmate him. Normally, this is what they do. Because it's like there's a rift between the president, the governor of the state and the deputy governor. To be able to calm this rift, the presidency is now advising them, because they belong to the same party, that all the impeachment process should be stopped. All court cases should be withheld. That nobody should take anybody to court. And then they want to dissolve the state council executives. They should put a stop to it. All the actions they want to take, pause
to it
for now. So that peace should reign. Let I-31 continue as deputy governor. And the position of the governor remains. So if you now say you don't want to obey what the leader of the party has given to you, as advice given to you, if you don't want to obey that, then we force the deputy governor to resign, because there's a rift between the governor and the deputy governor, and because the governor was sick and was not around, then so many things happened, many parties uncovered when he was not around, and they don't want this tussle to continue, because there's a saying that you can only know the beginning of a fight, you cannot tell what will be the end of that particular fight. There are three things in life you run away from. When fire is occurring, you don't know where it will end. And when somebody is terribly sick, you don't know what it will lead to.
The outcome.
Yes, and then when there's a big fight, you don't know what will be the end of the fight. So I would think that the best thing for them to do in Ondo State is to go along with the decision of the president that, let peace reign. Let there be serenity in the state. I think that should be better for them, so that they can continue the good governance of the state.
All right, so going further, we'll take a look at the third story that we have from the Punch newspaper. And this says, Japa, 5 loot words shot, beds empty, says reps. The House of Representatives Committee on Health has revealed that not less than 5 wards with about 150 beds have been closed down at the Lagos University Teaching Hospital, Idi-Araba, due to a shortage of health workers. The chairman of the committee, Dr. Amos Magaji, explained that the 5 wards that have been shut down because there was no health workers to operate them, despite the large number of patients received at the institutions on a daily basis. While lamenting that the institution was under threat as a result of brain drain, the health committee chairman stated that many health workers in Louth, especially nurses and doctors, had left the teaching hospital in search for greener pasture. Speaking with newsmen shortly after the oversight visit to the teaching hospital, Magaji noted that the alarming rate of migration of health workers was becoming a national embarrassment to the country. As a committee, we would work together with the federal government and also with the teaching hospital to find a way out of this national embarrassment that have been following us in this state. Okay, so this is quite a sad one that we have to get to this point. And I also, like yesterday we spoke about it. And for me, I still believe that it is really not about the Japa syndrome. It is how well are we maintaining the doctors and the nurses that we have and the health workers staff that we have. Because for anyone to want to leave a job for another is because he or she is either not being taken care of in the place where they are, and therefore they need a better offer. Okay, this is not the first time we're having issues like this. And to now see that about 150 beds in the 5 wards that are being shut down. So I can imagine even when we don't have them shut down, we still have patients coming in daily, and then there's still no space for them. Now to now see that 150 bed as is being vacant because there's no health personnel to to deal with this case. So Engineer Allah, I'll come to you by asking, what do you think is the way forward for in this situation as it stands? And then do you believe that it is truly the Japa syndrome that is giving this vacant as far as the health sector is concerned?
You see, there are many pointers to this. When you don't build your society, you don't expect anything from the society. When a child is growing up, the parent, the poor woman, the poor parent will struggle and struggle and struggle to educate the child, to go to school, sponsor the education of the child. Now the child is a medical doctor. Pay back time to for the parents to receive from the children. When you are now old, as a father, as a grandfather, you'll be expecting your children to take care of you, exactly, because you have taken care of them when they were in the cradle. The federal government of Nigeria has refused to take care of our citizens. The poor woman who is a bread seller will take the pain inside the rain, inside the sun to train the child and become a medical doctor. And the child is now being underpaid. What do you think will happen to the child? Especially
when there is a greater offer staring at the child.
Somewhere else. The child will go there, build houses and mansions for the parents. But if you have started this scholarship scheme, educational aid for students, you'll be able to have right over there and say, you cannot go to anywhere because you are still owing me for the educational fund. There have not been no educational fund. So what do you expect? This thing did not start now. It has started longer time ago. You have to build a society gradually. Like it is a saying that educate a woman and you have educated the society. If you educate your citizens with tax money, that is taxpayers' money, they will work with you. But even if you are paying them little salary, they will take it from you. But they have relied so much on their parents, and the parents have funded their education. What do you expect? So in this scenario, what do you expect Nigerian medical doctors to do, to stay back and be handing 10,000 naira per month? And so far. So that is what is causing this problem. No, if you want to stop Japa something, because all over the world, we have people coming from their own countries to work outside. Maybe let me give an example that in England we have so many Indians, Pakistanis, Nigerians who are working in their hospitals because the environment is good. The pay is better than in Asia or than in Africa. But again, when you look at Japan, look at Taiwan and other countries, their citizens are still working in their own country because of the remuneration is good. The remuneration is not good. You don't expect them to leave. Another thing is that when you now look into the government, you find out that the executive arms of the government, the legislative arms of the government, the judiciary arms of the government. Now you go back to the House of Assembly, you look at how much money they are earning. What has been their own contribution to the economical benefit or development of this nation? No. You who has been a teacher for the past 10 or 12 years, you have been developing the nation from your own angle of skill. You've been doing that, yet there's no remuneration for you. Your salary is poor. So would you advise your children again to stay in that particular economy? So I don't have to blame the medical doctors, and I don't have to blame the parents. I have to blame the government for not doing their own duty. Yes, what you ought to have done. If you have done better for them, they will not japa. I will also advise my own children to japa if the economy does not change. So you have to look inward. I've been saying this emphatically, that you have to look inward and make sure that the welfare of our students, of our youth, you take care of their welfare. not buying unnecessary cars at National Assembly. You want to do this, your job is a Aquilian job, this and blah, 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 blah. No, it doesn't go like that now, because it will also bounce back on you. And this menace is not curbed. And those people that are left in the country who are unskilled, let me say, who are unskilled laborers, what do you think will happen? You'll be able to control them. They will do whatever they like to do.
Exactly.
So the government should now look into it and put a lot of effort on the education of the youth. That will be able to save the country.
And considering the fact that it is the health sector that is being affected is a no-no. I really think that the government really needs to pay a lot of attention to this part of the sector, because for those of, for the masses who do not have money to fly their people abroad, and then we rely, the only hope we have is the general hospitals that where they can run to and still have, treatment at a minimal rate. And then if this is happening to us, then it means that we are really lacking behind in the things that we need to do. And considering with the statement saying that we'll work with the government to see that something is being done, and I hope that something is being done as soon as possible. And I also look forward to the government also working hand in hand with them. The labor, I also blame this on the labor, because they are also not paying attention to this. We keep paying attention to the things that are, that are really not the basic things that we need to pay attention at when we have pressing issues at this, coming to us. And this is just the end of, we're running out, running to the end of the year. And this is happening. What then is the faith of the masses when we get to 2024? There are a lot of questions, around this that needs a lot of answers, that needs answers to be given to as soon as possible. All right, we'll go on a quick break, and when we come back, we'll take further stories from Vanguard and also the Sun newspaper. Please stay tuned. We'll be right back. Yes, welcome back from that quick break. This is still CAC TV. We are right on the newspaper review on Morning Dew. Okay, so we'll take the next story coming from the Vanguard newspaper. And this says Tinubu's new $8.6 billion loan bid takes debt above $51.759 billion. Nigeria's external debt profile will eat over 759 billion dollar as President Bola Tinubu yesterday sought the National Assembly's approval for fresh 8.6 billion naira and 100 million foreign loans. The president's request is part of the external borrowing plan for 2022 to 2024 for critical infrastructure such as power, roads, water, railway, and health. The country's external debt stock as at June 2023, according to data from the Debt Management Office (DMO), stood at $43.159 billion, while its domestic debt stock is 54.130 trillion naira. Analyses of the external debt showed that multilateral borrowing gulped $20.590 billion, bilateral $5.18 and commercial is $15.618 billion. Promissory note is $931.7 million and 3 million, I beg to say. The letter from the request was read by President of the Senate, Senator Godwill Akpabio, and Speaker of the House of Representatives, Tajuddin Abbas, and at the plenary yesterday. Okay, so looking at this story that we have, saying that we are, the president, we are also opting to get loans, and this loan will be used for railway, health sector, and the likes. My question now is, like, it's been on my mind. I'm like, the initial loans, all the loans that we've been borrowing long before now, was also for this cause. Railway and all of that. Meanwhile, this same railway we're talking about still gets stuck on the road and saying that it's out of whether diesel or not, and then we still have the health sector still lacking behind, needing all this, and then we still have the power sector, we still have the road. They are still complaining about we are using money to borrowing loans for this road as well, and then we are still having issues with the roads. What exactly is happening? There's too much question in the minds of the masses. If we are borrowing loan, it is no problem, it is no issue for us. If we're borrowing loan and then the masses are not seeing what is being done with it, we keep claiming that we're using it for this, and then there is no result coming from that angle, and then we're still talking about borrowing more loan, accumulating loans day in, day out. Engineer Ola, do you think that this is the way forward for us as Nigerian with the current situation, with the current state of our economy?
Every country do go out to borrow money, but the fact is we are forgetting about a very special thing in this country. That is education. If you borrow money to fund your educational system, at the end of the day, you have your reward. But when you borrow money for trivialities, you borrow money to pay staff salary, you borrow money to eat. Let's say you have a factory, and at the factory you are not producing because lack of money to buy raw materials. But instead of you to borrow money for raw materials, you are borrowing money to build additional offices for staff. That is unproductive. If we have to borrow money, we have to borrow money into research. We have to borrow money into educational research. Now we are borrowing money for health, which is good, but if the education is to support the health, most of the drugs could be produced locally in the country. No, there will be more profit. If you put money into education, you find a very good reward. Like I've said, and I'm always saying it, that look at our educational system. You are studying civil engineering in the university. There is no funding. There are no equipments. There are no research centers in your university. Educationally, you are not sound. You are half-baked. At the end of the day, you cannot do anything, and you are not
You're not
productive.
productive.
But if you are productive, you'll be able to
To add
build
value.
Yes, to add value to the economy, and be able to uplift the economy. And when you uplift the economy, and the economy is buoyant, what happens? More money will come into circulation. So we have to invest in education. If you are borrowing money, let us borrow money. Majority of the money should go into our educational system so that we're able to uplift our children. Otherwise, all these monies that they have been borrowing. Another aspect of it is that, what about money coming in from the right side of the road and going out again from the left side of the road? This money, at the end of the day, you will not be able to account for it. But this is a new administration. We just pray that the money they are borrowing is very, very useful to them, and they use the money positively to be able to do what exactly they said they are going to do.
You know, it brings me to a point where I would say that the government are expecting that the masses should make do and also consider what they are also, trying to do with the economy or with the borrowings. And then I'm like, if you're expecting much from the masses, and then you are also not putting yourself in that situation. We borrow loans. Imagine the first lady, saying that we didn't actually come in here with to eat from you, to get money from you, but already you are already asking for cars, luxuries, for things that are not, and which is not even in the budget. This is part of the money that we're talking about in our country. Last time it was about the yacht for the president. Now nothing is being said about that. A lot of things are going on wrong as far as this sector is concerned, and I really hope that this money they are looking forward to loaning from, from whatever source they are going to get it from, will be used effectively for its purpose, and not just lavishing it on things that are not relevant or that won't help the economy grow as far as growth is concerned in our economy. Okay, so away from that, we'll take a look at the next story, still from Vanguard newspaper, and this says, despite Cold War, Wike won't backpedal on 8 years for Fubara. Former governorship candidate of the People's Redemption Party, PRP, in Delta State, Emmanuel Igbini, said yesterday that despite the seeming disagreement between the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, FCT, Abuja, Nyesom Wike, and Governor Simi Fubara of Rivers State, the Godfather will not relent on his avowal to ensure his political son precedes over the state for 8 years. In a statement in Warri, Delta State, Igbini, a friend of Wike, said Nyesom Wike will not and will never renege on his decision and determination to see that Governor Fubara emerged as governor and continues as governor of Rivers State for uninterrupted two terms of 8 years, May 29, 2023, May 29, 2031, not minding that Wike rightly feels heartbroken right now by few political misjudgment of Fubara. So this this story, when I was looking at this story, I'm like, okay, what exactly is going on? Is it a thing of godfatherism and and predecessors? Engineer Ola, what's your take on this?
Nothing. I don't have anything to say on that. So I don't know what he means by that. Wike, either there's Cold War or no Cold War, he will support Fubara for 8 years. I don't know. So that's just the news. I beg.
All right,
let's go forward.
Let's move to the next story that we have still from Vanguard newspaper. This says automation of passport application, 99% done to go live next week, says the minister. The Minister of Interior, Olubunmi Tunji-Ojo, said automation of passport applications is 99% complete and expected to go live next week. Tunji-Ojo disclosed this in an interview on Channels Television's Political Today on Tuesday. He said automation of passport application is 99% done. We've done the testing and we should be going live in the next week or thereabout. That will ensure that all that Nigeria need to do in an immigration center, a passport center, is just biometric, just to make your fingerprints. All other things are going to be in the comfort of your home, including uploading your passport picture and your supporting documents, just like your visa, he added. Tunji Ojo had said one of the reforms the ministry was implementing in passport management is to put an end to the chaotic passport application process. Well, this is actually a good way to start, and I look forward to this working effectively and not like the INEC, what have you, that was done and people, masses still complains about it. This will actually, go a long way to help us because, engineer, have you gone to the passport office and see the chaos that happened there? Like the queue is like, you have, at the end of the day, you go, you may not be attended to because you have a lot of persons on ground. You may be number 90 something, and then they'll ask you to come tomorrow and then tomorrow. So this is actually good. This is actually good news that you can actually do a lot of things at the comfort of your home. Engineer Ola, what's your take on this?
Well, it's a good thing. It will help the Japa syndrome. There are people that are traveling abroad to look for better opportunities in Nigeria. It will help them a lot. Yes, because it will help the Japa syndrome. That is it, or Abi. Well, it's a good thing that something like this is happening. We just pray that it's a matter of time we'll be able to see what he has said. What Tunji Ojo has said, Mr. Tunji Ojo, what he has said, is a matter of time for us to see that, okay, it's a very good thing that we can go to the passport office and then deal with all these problems of queuing up, wasting your number of days before you can get your passport. But with a click of your hand, you can get your passport. It's a good thing. Let's wait and see. He has said in a weeks to come, they will start doing it.
And the server will be working very well.
Very well.
And not the way you get there and they say the server is slow, come back tomorrow. Oh my goodness. Oh, it's such a blessed country we are in, and I am really so proud to be a Nigerian, to see that we are growing daily and daily, day by day. All right, we'll go on another quick break, and when we come back, we'll take a look at the story making headlines from the Sun newspaper. Please stay tuned. We'll be right back shortly. Yes, welcome back from that quick break. You are still on to the newspaper review on Morning Dew. This is Cactv. Okay, so now we'll take a look at the stories from the Sun newspaper. And the first story that we have from the Sun newspaper says electoral reform. Jega calls for proscription of cross-carpeting, emboldening of INEC. Former chairman of Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, Atahiru Jega, has called for the prohibition of cross-carpeting by elected officials. At a town hall meeting on electoral reforms organized by the Senate on an House of Representatives Joint Committee on Electoral Matters yesterday in Abuja, he said that incessant cross-carpeting was destroying the ethos of the democracy. He said situations where elected public officials defect from the political parties on whose platform they were elected to other parties without first resigning their position was not in the interest of democracy. The former INEC boss also called for the unburdening of the electoral body to make it more efficient. According to him, some of the functions being performed by the INEC should be ceded to another body. He said, I will recommend the unburdening of INEC because the commission has a lot on its plate to deal with, a situation with which has made it struggle to meet its core mandate. Some functions which INEC is currently performing should be given to another body entirely to handle if we want to make progress on our electoral journey. If we truly want to improve our electoral process, there is a need to prescribe cross-carpeting by political actors. The frequency with which Nigerian politicians, I beg to say, cross-carpet has become a big score of worry. Okay, so that's the first story from the Sun newspaper. So of late, Jaga has been coming out to give advice to the electoral body. And I'm like, what exactly is he doing now? Why is he giving us advice now? Why is he giving them advice now? Is it that when they are there, they don't see the things that they need to do and make it effective? So why is he coming now to give advice at this point? And how effective can this be? And how do we think that the current chairman will buy the idea of Jaga at the time? So Engineer, over to you.
No, this thing has been a very controversial issue. When Obasanjo was Nigerian president, he did what he could do, but later on, Obasanjo will come back and say, this is my advice to the country. This is what you have to do. I am condemning this, I'm supporting this. Jega is treading the same path. No, let the National Assembly listen to him. Whatever he has to say, whatever suggestions he has made, they should look into it. For example, he's talking about cross-carpeting by elected officers. And this is very rampant. Somebody will win an election under the platform of APC, and when he gets to the National Assembly, he will now switch back to PDP. I do not see. I'm not a politician, so I don't understand the risk that is really involved or
why the action is.
Why the action has to be like that. I'm not a politician, I don't know anything about that. But Jega has been an INEC boss, and he conducted elections in this country. And then we are able to see the result of the election conducted by Jega. If Jega has to come up and say, oh, there shouldn't be any cross-carpeting. If you want to cross-carpet to another party, you have to relinquish your position and then step into another party. But why you won the election through a political party, you cannot cross-carpet until you resign from that political party and go join another party. Then you cannot cross-carpet. maybe is what Jega feel were able to help our democracy. When he was there as the boss, that he realized maybe this cross-carpeting has done a lot of damage than good to Nigerian politics. And he's talking about to unbundle the INEC responsibility. Maybe, because he was the boss and he knows all the functions of INEC. Maybe there are some functions that INEC has to let go so that other body can handle those responsibilities. So INEC can become very effective. But Nigerians have been saying that INEC is not effective, INEC is biased, INEC is this, INEC is that. So if someone has to come out, someone who has a lot of experience because he has served as an INEC boss, he has a lot of experience and he can come out and say, okay, let me give you some suggestions. If you do it this way, to work out. So let the National Assembly look into that. Decide. Look at the merit and then the disadvantage of what is saying. Weigh the two together and then take the appropriate decision on the matter. What he's saying is homely. It's not bad. The National Assembly should consider it, and then so that the country can move forward.
All right, lastly, we'll take the last story from the Sun newspaper, and this says Power Minister unveils short-term focus. In a commitment to enhance electricity supply nationwide, the short-term focus in the power sector will prioritize metering, distributions, and transmission infrastructure. Minister of Power Adebayo Adelabu announced this shift during the third roundtable on enforcement of technical standards, regulation, and mandate of Nigerian Electricity Management Service Agency, NAMSA. Adelabu highlighted the upcoming power sector strategy roadmap, emphasizing a bottom-up approach to prioritize impact over the previous top-down strategies. He outlined the strategy saying, we will focus on customers down to distribution and transmission infrastructure in the short term, ensuring a significant portion of currently generated power reaches consumers. Adelabu also ensured attention to the generation segment, particularly in distributed power embedded from renewable energy source, while currently advising base load power through thermal and hydro plants in the medium to long term. The minister emphasized regional energy potential, citing solar energy in the north. Same hydropower plant is the middle belt, or in the middle belt and southwest, hybridized with solar for maximum output. Also, the coastal sites were identified for wind energy utilization. And that's the last story that we have from the Punch newspaper. Okay, so it's the end of the year, and they are coming up with strategies and things that they can do to make sure that the power sector is working effectively. And also this short term that has been revealed, I hope that it would really take effect and be done properly, because in Nigeria, one thing I noticed in Nigeria about us in Nigeria is that we want to try out things, but we do not pay attention to the effects of it and how it could work better in our own country. You know, this meter thing currently have not really been good, because as of last week we had a lot of queue. We had issues recharging our meter, and then we had to go over to their office to see what we can do, but the queue was just too much, and server was also not doing any justice to it. And this is because it was being reformed, and they said, okay, they changed a lot of things, and still, rather than get better, it is only Nigeria that I see that when they try new things, when they say, okay, we are upgrading, the upgrade was supposed to be to get better, but rather it get worse than what it was. And people will be like, please take us back to the life where we once had, not this one that you're giving us so much stress. Why would we do things and then it's giving us struggle? Okay, so if this short-term reformation is coming up, and I strongly believe that this would better our power sector. Engineer Ola?
No, what he's saying is not bad at all. It's a good thing to write home about. He's talking about how they want to reform power generation and distribution. That is to assist the consumers. It's a very good thing, because what the man is saying is that he wants to cite solar energy in the north, because we have lots of sunshine in the north. And then where we have lots of wind, we can be able to use wind turbine. And also in the southwest, and where we have oceans and many rivers, we can do hydroelectric dam. So what he's saying is, is to the book. My own contribution is that we just pray to God to help him to do what he has said. Yes, to achieve his goal and objective. He is talking beautifully. The presentation is fantastic, but what about the implementation? He has said it. It's good to say it, but what about the implementation? What about the fund, finance to be able to do it?
Achieve it?
Because if you go to the North Africa, there are lots of wind turbine. In the north, Algeria, all those countries in the north, we have lots of wind turbine. We can also have some wind turbines here in the north too, because we have vast land and we have sunshine in abundance in the north. We can have wind turbine in the north that can serve. Instead of relying only on hydro power generation. So which means we can have lots of generation, but we can generate power from many sources. It's a good thing. What he's talking about is fantastic. I just pray that he has the strength to do what is, is projecting, what is proposing.
And he has all that is needed to bring
the fund,
it to reality.
And the fund that is needed to actualize it. And then on the metering, I think they are making progress, because it's a new thing. We have to, first of all, we have to understand what this metering process.
Also do good by God. Make sure that all that you do it in love. Extend the hand of love to one another, because that is what we need at this point. It's the end of the year where we get to do what's that Christmas song? Santa Claus is coming to town. Yes, this is the time for Santa Claus, and this is the time to show love to somebody. Okay, endeavor to show love to someone today. Thank you so much for staying tuned once again to the newspaper review. I am yours truly, Mother Dominic.
And my name is Ola Oladipo.
And together we say, be Nigeria,
by Nigeria.
Have a blessed day.